If you're doing everything right and still getting passed up for promotions, you're not alone. I waited 3 years until I realized hard work isn't enough if you're invisible to the decision makers. Hey everyone, this is Renee Frey from Talent Q, and you're listening to the Conscious Professional Podcast. More people than ever want to be happy in their personal life and in their careers, but they're going about it all wrong. I'm here to set the record straight and emphasize the importance of prioritizing your mindset. I'm thrilled you're here. Let me guess, you're working hard, saying yes to everything, and doing all the right things, yet you're still not getting promoted. You might be stuck in a career trap. And you're not alone. Today, I'm exposing the 3 hidden traps that keep smart, ambitious professionals stuck. These are ones no one warns you about, and I'm giving you the mindset shifts and action steps to break free. Trap number 1, if I work hard, I get promoted. This is the most common trap I see smart, capable professionals grinding away under the belief that effort equals advancement. They take on more work, cover for others, stay late, say yes to everything, hoping someone will finally notice and reward them. You believe that if you just work harder, you'll get noticed. So you take on more projects, work more hours, more pressure, thinking visibility and promotion will follow. Why believing working hard will earn you the promotion is a trap. Hard work is expected. It's the baseline. It doesn't automatically translate to visibility, influence, or promotion. In fact, the hardest workers are often the most overlooked because they're dependable and their leaders don't want to lose them in their current role. You become the go-to person instead of the growth-ready person. If you're doing everything right and still getting passed up for promotions, you're not alone. I waited 3 years until I realized hard work isn't enough if you're invisible to the decision makers. And I've lived it. I remember working my butt off at Target Corporation, late nights saying yes to every project, mentoring teammates, constantly raising my hand for more. I thought if I just kept showing up and crushing it, the recognition would follow. I gave that company everything. For 3 years, I exceeded my metrics, tackled special projects, and said yes to every opportunity to stand out. I helped with national recruiting conferences, traveling to represent the company, missing time with my family. I'd stand over 10 hours straight at our big flashy booth, talking to hundreds of people with a smile, loving the energy, but feeling the exhaustion in my bones. These events were grueling. I'd pour every ounce of energy into making them a success. I followed every piece of career advice my leader gave me. When she recommended moving to merchandising recruiting, the heartbeat of the company, I trusted her. It made sense. I'd learn a new part of the business, meet new senior executives, and be part of a high visibility, high impact hiring push. I was excited and ready to prove myself. But then the leadership shuffle began. My amazing leader left. We had an interim boss, then another. In less than a year, I reported to 3 different people. Each time I had to start over, build new relationships, adapt to different expectations, advocate for myself all over. Exhausting. Still, I stayed focused. I had open conversations with my new leader about my goal. I wanted to be promoted to executive recruiter. And I asked directly what it would take to get there. I was clear, committed, and hungry. Then I had my second child. And when I returned from maternity leave, performance review week had just kicked off. The director of recruiting came by my desk to welcome me back and said something to me I'll never forget. Renee, while you were gone, there was a huge gap. We are so glad you're back. My heart swelled and I thought, this is it. I felt seen, valued. So I walked into my annual review hopeful and I left crushed. Yeah, all I got was a performance bonus. She said glowing things about my work, but the promotion? Nope. I smiled, said thank you, and walked out with rage silently pulsing through me and smoke coming out of my ears. I barely made it out of the building before the tears came. I was furious, heartbroken, and honestly just done. I believe so deeply to my core that if I kept doing the right things, working hard, the promotion would follow. And that belief shattered in that moment. So I made a choice. If working myself into burnout wasn't going to get me the promotion, I was done going above and beyond. I clocked my 40 hours, no more, no less. And you know what happened? I held true to my vow and literally only worked 40 hours a week for a whole year. And the next year, I got promoted. Wild, right? I stopped chasing it and it came. Here's another layer most people don't talk about. Politics. All companies have them. Relationships matter more than we'd like to admit. When you're known, admired, and politically aligned, you're more likely to be considered for promotions and high visibility projects. But if you're internal cheerleaders, the people who promoted you spoke highly of you and opened doors for you. If they leave the company, or if there's a leadership shift and you're no longer on the inside track, you can suddenly become invisible, no matter how hard you're working. This is a key moment. I know because I lived it. I wanted the promotion. I stayed loyal. I kept working hard, but I didn't get it. And it forced me to ask the question we all need to ask at some point. Can I rebuild trust and influence here? Or is it time to go somewhere new where I can start fresh and be seen again? So then how do we escape the trap? You gotta shift from effort to impact. Start talking about results instead of tasks. Don't just say I worked on this project. Say I led the project that increased revenue by 18%. Stop hiding behind productivity. Get visible. Speak up in meetings. Share wins. Ask for stretch opportunities that show you're ready for more. Think like a leader. Leaders aren't the busiest people in the room. They're the ones creating clarity, driving outcomes, and influencing direction. But here's the truth. Believing hard work alone will earn you a promotion sets you up for burnout, invisibility, and resentment. Promotions rarely go to the most overworked. They go to those who are strategic, visible, and positioned as leaders. Be seen, be heard, be intentional. That's how you rise. And a mindset reframe, effort earns your paycheck. Strategic relationships and visibility earn your promotion. Trap number 2, I need to stay loyal syndrome. You've been at the same company for years. Maybe they gave you your first big break. You've been promoted a bunch of times. Maybe you've grown close to your team. You feel guilty even thinking about leaving. But let's get clear. Staying somewhere that no longer serves your growth isn't loyalty. It's self-abandonment. This trap keeps high performers stuck out of obligation, guilt, or fear. You stay because they were good to me. I don't want to seem ungrateful. I've been here so long, I'd be starting over. So you keep saying to yourself, 1 more year. But that 1 year suddenly turns into 5, and you're not just behind, you're unfulfilled and resentful. Why this is a trap? Loyalty is admirable, but loyalty without growth, that equals stagnation. Companies evolve, leadership turns over, cultures shift, and the people who once championed you, they moved on. And suddenly, you're left trying to regain your footing in a place that no longer fits. I remember landing a recruiting manager role at Agilon, and honestly, it felt like everything clicked. The culture aligned with my values. The work was fulfilling. I was earning more money than I'd ever made in my life. I saw a real future there. I felt loyal, not just to the company, but to the vision I thought we shared. But then, a few years later, everything changed. The leadership shifted. The direction of the company started to drift from the values that originally drew me in. And it was subtle at first, but over time, that disconnect grew louder and louder. The company I once admired no longer felt like a place I belonged. I found myself at a crossroads, one I know so many people face. Do I stay in a job that's comfortable and pays the bills, even though it's no longer in alignment with who I am? Or do I walk away from security and take a chance on something better? At the time, I was getting ready to start a family and have kids. I had a lot to lose, but I also knew I couldn't afford to compromise my happiness, not now, not long term. So I made the leap. Because when you're misaligned, no paycheck in the world can make up for that. And real loyalty, it starts with being loyal to yourself. Your career isn't a lifetime contract. It's a series of aligned decisions. And staying somewhere just because it's comfortable or familiar, that's how careers stall, dreams shrink, and potential goes untapped. Here's the truth bomb. You're the cog in a machine, a number. I know that sounds harsh, but it's real. Even the best companies can restructure, reorg, or reassign you in an instant. You're not disposable to yourself, but you might be to them. That's why advocating for your own growth isn't selfish. It's your responsibility. Reevaluate your alignment, not just your loyalty. Staying put out of obligation is not the same as staying aligned with your goals. I want you to ask yourself, are your values reflected in the work you do? Do the people you work for operate in a way that inspires you or drains you? Are you proud of the way you show up every day, or are you just going through the motions? Loyalty should be mutual. If you're holding on to the only one thing holding you on, it's time to take a closer look, then get brutally honest. And this part stings, but it's necessary. Is this role still challenging you, or are you just coasting because it's safe? Are you learning, growing, or simply repeating the same year of experience over and over again? Do people see you for what you're capable of, or are you constantly underestimated or overlooked? If the answer is to no to most of these, you already know. Then you create an exit plan. Don't quit tomorrow unless it's toxic. Instead, make a 90-day plan to transition with intention. That way you're leaving from a place of power, not panic. Here's your 3-month roadmap. Month 1, you're going to polish your resume and LinkedIn. You're going to get clear on your target role. Month 2, reignite your network. Reconnect with past colleagues, past vendors that you worked with. Let people know confidently that you're open to new opportunities. Month 3, start actively asking your network to submit you as an employee referral to job openings and interview with discernment, not desperation. Aim for alignment, not just escape. The goal isn't to leave a job. The goal is to step into a role, a culture, and a path that reflects the person you are becoming. Because you are not stagnant, so your career shouldn't be either. Truth is, you can respect your company and still outgrow it. You can be grateful for what it gave you and still decide it's time to move on. Those two things can exist at the same time. But here's the deeper truth. No one will ever be as loyal to your growth as you need to be. Not your manager, not your team, not the company. Even the ones that feel like family have a business to run, and in business, people are often seen as resources, not humans with dreams, ambitions, or potential to fulfill. So if you're staying out of guilt, fear, or false loyalty, you are holding yourself back. And eventually that loyalty turns into resentment, burnout, regret. Get your butt in the driver's seat of your career and stay there. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop hoping someone's going to recognize your potential. You are the only one who can give yourself that green light. So hit that gas pedal. A mindset reframe to remember: staying loyal to something that no longer serves you isn't noble. It's self-abandonment. Trap number 3, waiting to be chosen. This one is sneaky. You're doing great work. You're hitting your goals, being the team player. Deep down, you're hoping someone will notice, that they'll tap you on the shoulder and say, "It's your time. We see you. Here's the opportunity you deserve. Here's the promotion." But waiting to be chosen puts all the power outside of you. You're handing over the keys of your career and hoping someone else decides to drive you forward. Why it's a trap? When you wait to be chosen, you are not in control. You're playing defense instead of offense. You're reacting, hustling behind the scenes, hoping your effort will be enough while someone else controls the scoreboard. I know this because I've lived it. You heard my story earlier about waiting 3 years for a promotion. I did everything the company asked of me. I hit every target, took on extra projects, stayed late, mentored teammates, and the whole time I kept thinking, they'll see how valuable I am. They'll reward me soon. But they didn't, because I was invisible to the people who made the decisions. I was waiting silently, hoping someone else would give me permission to grow. And that waiting, it delayed my dreams. It chipped away at my confidence, and it kept me playing small. How to escape the trap of waiting to be chosen? First, shift your identity. Start acting like the next level version of yourself now. Don't wait for the title to lead like a leader. Second, speak about your work with clarity and confidence. Don't assume people know your impact. Communicate it boldly and often. And third, build relationships with decision makers before you need them. Proximity matters. Influence happens through connection, not perfection. The truth is, if you keep waiting to be chosen, you'll spend years earning something that requires owning. No one is coming to rescue you. No one will tap you on the shoulder if you haven't made yourself visible. Promotions, opportunities, and growth go to those who position themselves, not just those who perform. You can be the most qualified person in the room and still get overlooked if you're not advocating for yourself. That's not fair, but it's real. The moment you stop waiting and start stepping into who you want to be is the moment everything starts to shift. And a good mindset reframe is stop waiting to be picked. Choose yourself. You don't need permission to grow. You need intention. Your career moves faster the moment you stop waiting and start owning it. So the key points from today's episode are the 3 mindset reframes that I shared. Effort earns your paycheck. Strategic relationships and visibility earn your promotion. Staying loyal to something that no longer serves you isn't noble. It's self-abandonment. Stop waiting to be picked. Choose yourself. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Share this episode with someone you love and go make one change to be better than you were yesterday. Live your life with intention. I believe in you. I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible. So if you would, please hit the follow button so we can grow our community of conscious professionals. Whether you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can find the button at the top of the page. See you next week, everybody. Cheers.